Most of our viewers are aware by now that there was a defamation case taken against Dave McKay, the co-founder of the Jesus Christians, in Australia last year, that is in 2023. The judge ruled that Dave was guilty of having told a, quote, malicious lie, unquote, about the woman. Now, not so many people are aware that A, Dave was not allowed any legal representation in the case, and B, he was not even allowed to testify in his own defense. The general public is also not aware that the two expert witnesses whom Dave enlisted to testify in his defense were not allowed to testify either. Nor are most people aware that the only people who did testify in his defense, three young adults who challenged the truth in what their parents were saying against Dave, were almost totally ignored by the judge, Judge Julie Clayton, when she passed judgment in the case. Just to explain, Dave was not allowed legal counsel because he is poor. He doesn't have any source of income apart from an old age pension, and legal aid in Australia is not available in defamation cases. In addition to that disadvantage, Dave was not even allowed to testify in his own defense because he said it would be dishonest for him to say that he would tell the whole truth when he doesn't even know the whole truth. Dave had agreed to be honest and tell an irrelevant truth, but the judge was not satisfied with that, and she refused to let him testify. And Dave's expert witnesses were rejected by the judge because she said that they would open up a theological rabbit hole that she was not prepared to go down. She said that she considered her own opinion to be more reasonable than that of highly respected academics, and so her opinion would be the only basis on which Dave was to be judged. A further problem arose with regard to the fact that the offending word Dave used to describe this woman was Luciferian. Many dictionaries do not even have an entry for that word, but the judge decided to say that Dave had called her a devil worshipper, two words that never appeared in the material about which the complaint was raised. And then she added her own thoughts about that, implying ritual sacrifices as well. No real evidence was ever produced during the trial to support an accusation by the judge that Dave had shown malice towards the plaintiff. Nor was any real evidence produced to support an accusation that Dave had outright lied about the plaintiff when saying that she was a Luciferian. Evidence did, however, show that Dave was extremely patient with the plaintiff in a series of emails between them, where the judge admitted that the plaintiff was venting her spleen to the level of abuse in what she wrote to Dave, while Dave was empathetic in his responses. However, Judge Julie Clayton concluded from that Dave was just stringing the plaintiff along by being so patient with her. And from that, Judge Julie felt qualified to say that Dave was being malicious by using the word Luciferian to describe the plaintiff's beliefs. And far from it being a lie to refer to the plaintiff as a Luciferian, a lot of evidence was presented to show that she had some strange sympathies for Lucifer, which included the plaintiff's own boast about having studied the occult, including witchcraft, for, quote, almost as many years as you have been alive, unquote, referring to her daughter, who was in her 20s at the time when her mother made that boast. Evidence also included the plaintiff's praise for Lucifer, stating that he is beautiful and intelligent and a catalyst for finding the true light of Christ. A declaration that the Christian Bible is a work of fiction, and an email from the plaintiff stating that she believed in an occult Jesus with curly hair who cast spells and healed people using a magic wand. None of this was referred to in the judgment, which tended to treat the plaintiff as if she was a devout Christian for whom the label Luciferian would have been an outright lie. The court was shown images of a chat that this same woman had with other people, discussing different ways that they could cause trouble for Dave, and wanting to accuse him of as many things as they possibly could, including human trafficking, organ trafficking, forced marriages, passport forgeries, and other crimes. In fact, the woman prepared a 21-page list of criminal offenses to accuse Dave of, and after seeking moral support from the other people in the chat, she sent it to the Australian Federal Police. The police apparently did not take her complaint seriously, and that bothered her. The woman said, on record in the trial, that she believed if she could win a defamation case against Dave, both the police and the media would take her more seriously, after which she would again accuse Dave of criminal activity and see if she could generate more interest in pursuing him. Despite all this, the judge shockingly argued in the end that people discussing different strategies to cause problems for Dave did not amount to people conspiring to persecute Dave or the Jesus Christians, because the reports sent to the authorities were sent as individuals with just one signature and not with all their signatures attached. The judge also argued that it was not actually persecution, because the accusers never actually said that they were against Dave or the Jesus Christians on the basis of their Christian beliefs. Interestingly, in the same chat where they were discussing different ways to cause trouble, the woman who took Dave to court made mention of a parent from the Czech Republic. Well, just a few weeks ago, Ariel, our only member who has relatives in the Czech Republic, went to visit his family to attend his grandmother's funeral. He was accompanied by another Jesus Christian, Jack, for support. This same Czech family, mentioned by the plaintiff in the chat with others, had actually hired thugs with guns to dispose of Jack and tried to detain Ariel against his will after they arrived. Jack was beaten up and Ariel was forcibly detained. But fortunately, they were both eventually able to escape. They hope to soon publish a video telling their shocking story. Now, a significant detail that came out of that ordeal is that one of the first things Ariel was told by one of the people helping his parents was that we Jesus Christians are terrorists, and that the Jesus Christian community in Australia was going through a court case. They even said that the fact that Dave was in Australia made it difficult for them to kill him. But they said they would kill another member there in Europe, and they gave information that indicated they knew where he lived. Now, the only person we know of who is accusing Dave or the community of terrorism is, coincidentally, the same woman who took Dave to court for defamation, the same one who made mention of the Czech parent in the chat. Shortly after the trial ended, this same woman sent a bogus report to the police in Melbourne stating that she believed Dave was stalking and harassing her, and that she feared for her life, even though Dave had had no contact with her. Dave is now actually in hiding because, in fact, this woman is the one who seems to have been stalking him. Because of the intervention order, which Dave did not oppose, if he so much as says hello to her, if and when she confronts him, then he would be the one guilty of a criminal offense, and not her. This same woman went on to share some of her accusations with Channel 7's Spotlight program. She also claimed that Dave basically caused the deaths of hundreds of innocent people in Kenya in early 2023. We Jesus Christians believe it is more than a coincidence that these same false accusations appeared in a highly suspect blog in Kenya, and that they also appeared, almost word for word the same, in a Kenyan Senate ad hoc committee report shortly thereafter. Neither Channel 7 nor the Senate committee members are prepared to reveal the real source of that horrendous lie, for which they have absolutely no evidence. Now, we Jesus Christians believe there is enough information in what I have just shared to create a rather sensational media story about the campaign against us, not to mention enough material to force Channel 7 to tell the truth. if we could find a legal team who would be prepared to represent homeless Christians like Dave and his wife Cherry on a no-win, no-pay basis. And finally, I just wanted to explain the ending in the Channel 7 report. Channel 7 Spotlight knew that Dave and Cherry were moving out of the house that they had been living in for several years when they did their final interviews. You can even see the absence of furniture in the final shots that they took when the master interview took place. Channel 7 also knew why they were moving out to live on the streets in a borrowed Ford Transit van. See, Dave had agreed to give the proceeds of his old age pension, which is about $1,500 a month, to Renee Spencer as an expression of Christian love, because she and her co-conspirators had racked up hundreds of thousands of dollars in debts in order to take legal action against Dave. Many thousands of dollars have already been paid to Renee Spencer, and the money continues to go into a trust account held by her lawyer. Now, under Australian law, no one can force a person to pay legal costs from such an old age pension. However, this unusual action on Dave's part to give Renee his pension is consistent with the teaching of Jesus about giving more than we are required to give if someone sues us. So Dave, Cherry, and the other Jesus Christians in Australia actually moved out of the house they were living in because Dave's entire pension had previously been used to pay the rent, and they could no longer afford it after giving the pension to Renee. Dave and Cherry basically just get by on Cherry's pension now, which is not enough to even rent a small room. Well, I'll leave it there, unless a solicitor or reporter wants to know more about the truth behind what went down with Channel 7's lies. And I just want to say thank you to all those people who have expressed support and who are praying for us at this time. God bless you, and thank you for listening.